Hello, good day, and welcome to Sports Clinic on Ninja Live TV. My name is Appah, and I have with me Glad Yakie, or you can also add Brian Mboemo Jr. Good to have you, Glad Yakie.
Good to be here.
Okay, let's start from the home front where the NPFL match day 31, some matches were played, and for Enugu Rangers, they are smiling at the cathedral because it's as if the trophy might just come back to Enugu because they were 2-0 winners over El Kanami Warriors. We saw Wiki Tourist playing a drab 0-0 draw with Barao FC, and Remo Stars, defending champions. I'm quite embarrassed to use that name on Remo Stars because this season they've been nothing short of disappointing. 3-1 winners over Kwara United. We saw Kun Khalifat FC playing out an entertaining 2-all draw with Ikorodu City. Toskasina United won, Shooting Stars nil at Plateau. Plateau United defeated Bayelsa United by 1-0. Warri Wolves playing out a drab 0-0 draw too against Bendel Insurance, the South Derby. Kano Pillars defeating Eyimba FC by 2-0. Today we'll see Abia Warriors versus Niger Tornadoes, and Nasarawa United will take on Rivers United. Glad.
Really exciting games we saw over the weekend. For Bayelsa United, they've just really highlighted their inconsistency again by losing that encounter against Plateau United. Because for Bayelsa United, I think they've had some pretty impressive results over the last 5 games. They're coming on the back of that victory against Warri Wolves. You'd expect them to at least go out and get some points because they are really involved in that relegation struggle. But really disappointing from them, failing to get anything against Plateau United. And then we saw a lot of changes in the NPFL over the week. With, of course, you mentioned Rangers and International leapfrogging Rivers United. For yes. Rivers United, they still have a game to play against Nasarawa United. And for Rangers, I think they will be looking at that game against between Rivers United and Nasarawa United, hoping that Nasarawa United will be able to do them a favor to maybe snatch at least points from Rivers United, because the only way Rivers United will leapfrog Enugu Rangers again is if they win, get all 3 points after today's encounter. But so far, a lot of improvement for Remo Stars getting the maximum points again against Kwara United. That's a very massive win for them because they're on the back of another victory. So it's back-to-back wins for Remo Stars, and it's really odd even saying back-to-back wins when you talk about Remo Stars. So interesting results we saw over the weekend.
Yeah, interesting results. And for the match today between Nasarawa United and Rivers United, a big one, because for Nasarawa United, if they can get all 3 points in that one, they will just be 4 points behind Rivers United. So if they are very serious about, we are contending for the league, then they have to get all 3 points against Rivers United. But for Nasarawa United, sometimes I call them pretenders because there was a point this season they were up there in the log, looking like they were fighting for the trophy, but I was disappointed lately with them. But I just hope that this one they might be able to get something. That's for themselves, not for me. If you ask me who I'm tipping for the title, I know it's Rivers United, but Rivers United they've not really been beautiful. They've not been beautiful that much this season. But let's leave that and move to Europe. Let's take a flight to Europe and let's talk about the Carabao Cup, where Arsenal. What's happening with Arsenal? What is happening? Just it's as if whenever you mention a trophy, they end up bottling it. Whenever you mention a trophy, maybe you shouldn't put Arsenal and a trophy in the same sentence. I don't know what to say. I'm not trying to bant or have a go at Arsenal fans. There's no banter. But it was a disappointing one from Arsenal, losing 2-0 to Manchester City in the Carabao Cup final. Not for the sake that they lost, but when I mean disappointing, I'm talking about the performance. It was not good enough. Before now, glad it has been. The odds always favor Manchester City going into almost every match against Arsenal. When I'm talking about this new Manchester City era, I'm not talking about the Manchester City of before. I mean, when the Arab money came in, you always tip Manchester City ahead of Arsenal. The odds always favor them, but just once, the odds did favor Arsenal over Manchester City, and they could not deal with it. Is it the pressure, or Mikel Arteta does not just know how to beat his boss, Pep Guardiola, at the moment?
Well, for Mikel Arteta, I think he has to look himself in the mirror because there's many games I expected Arsenal to win. like the game against Liverpool. And he went in with this his pragmatic approach. He was very conservative in that game. Arsenal, that basically you look at the players pound for pound. I don't think there's any team in the Premier League that has the depth like Arsenal does at this point in the league. Because you look at City, of course you know City for a long time they have this quality, but so far I think they've depleted a little bit in terms of depth. So I felt like Arsenal, this was the biggest opportunity for them to get it over Manchester City, and I really fancy them to do it. But for me, Arteta, I don't know. Like you mentioned, whenever there's a trophy at stake, it seems like they become too nervous and they just cannot express themselves. So it's yet another disappointment for them. But I think at the end of the day, it was who wanted it more. For Manchester City, they realized if they don't win that trophy, this was like the best opportunity for them to win a trophy this season, because the Premier League title is pretty much Arsenal's to lose. It's essentially Arsenal in control in that Premier League title. And then the FA Cup, there's still a long way to go. They're already knocked out of the Champions League. So they had to just put in everything to get them and to ensure that they don't go trophyless this season. So maybe Manchester City needed it more. But for Arsenal, it's a bit of a good opportunity for them to at least end that long title drought.
Yeah, okay. Before you come in, let's talk about the goalkeeping situation, where if you're to be a manager, I know you've not coached a football team before. I've coached one, so I have a bit of an experience. Yeah,
you're going to brag about that. Yeah.
So, but then most fans now are not happy about that call of making sure that Kepa Arrizabalaga had to start ahead of David Raya. For Mikel Arteta, in defense of him, he said Kepa has been the one in post in this competition. So it's not nice that when it gets to the final, you're bringing in the number one, David Raya. But then fans will be like, you've not won a trophy for a very long time. And just when you have a chance to win a trophy, and who knows, make history, who knows, you might end up winning all 4 trophies. But there's a trophy in front of you, and you want to please a player over the fans also. Some quarters are even coming out to say that you owe the fans and not Kepa. So do you think at the end of the day it was a wrong call, or it's just one of those things?
I don't think it was the wrong call from Mikel Arteta, because he's been using Kepa in this competition for a long time. We saw Liverpool also last season, not just last season, the seasons prior. We've been seeing them using Kelly as well, dropping Alisson, and they were eventually winning games. So it's not like you're using Kepa expecting him to go up and make a big mistake. So I know there's going to be a lot of talks about Kepa because he made a decisive mistake, but I really don't think it's necessary.
Yeah, I'd like to. I think some time ago, Jose Mourinho at Manchester United, I think the Europa League matches, I think it was a different goalkeeper always there, and we got to the final and people were like, why would you not play this or that? But like you said, it's just one of those things. Had it been Kepa did not fumble, there wouldn't be there wouldn't be these questions. I think we're just trying to pin it on Kepa, but the performance in the second half did not merit any trophy. So I think the bigger picture is the second half performance. It should not happen again, because if they should repeat that performance, then they'll still drop points in the league.
Of course. And moving on, I think we need to talk a little bit about the Premier League game, because we also saw action in the English Premier League for games played over the weekend in the Premier League. On Friday, we saw Manchester United playing out a 2-2 draw against Bournemouth. For Liverpool on Saturday, they went to the Amex Stadium and came back without any points because they lost that game 2-1. And for Bournemouth, they were thrashed 3-1 by Fulham. For
Burnley?
For Burnley, I beg your pardon, Burnley. And for Everton against Chelsea, for Chelsea, the Blues were actually beating Blue-Black, and they left the Hill Dickinson Stadium without anything. So they lost 3 goals to nothing, 3-0 against Everton. And for Leeds United and Brentford, it ended goalless. The game between Newcastle United and Sunderland, it ended 2-1 in favour of Sunderland. That was the Tyne-Wear derby. And for Sunderland, they got the double over their arch nemesis, Newcastle United, this season. And for Aston Villa against West Ham United, it ended 2-0 in favour of Aston Villa. And then for Tottenham Hotspur, despite the fact that their fans came out and cheered the players while they were going into the stadium, they were beaten 3-0 to Nottingham Forest. So these are games played in the English Premier League.
Okay, let me start with the last one, Tottenham. Tottenham looks like they are destined for relegation. You know, there have been some great sides that you look at the players, the quality and the history behind these teams, and you want to say, no, they will not go down. They will survive. They will not go down, and it has happened. But for Tottenham, it looks like it will happen that way. It's looking that way, even though till it happens, I'd always tip them like, no, they will not go down. They will not go down. I'll always say that, but I have to be realistic, and it's looking like Tottenham have to be very careful.
Of course. The only thing stopping them from being relegated is the form of West Ham United.
Yes.
If West Ham are more serious, I think it's just a point separating the two teams at this point, But if West Ham are more serious now, I think they will eventually be able to leapfrog Tottenham. But they've been dismal.
Yeah, they've been dismal, and also moving forward, let me talk about Friday night, Manchester United against Bournemouth. A good point for both teams, even though for the refereeing, it was very controversial, I'd say. Penalties, you're given one, you're not given one. I believe the referees there can do better. And when you look at the balance of play, you might want to say Bournemouth, they deserve a point too because they played okay. I would have to admit it, even as a Manchester United fan, I'd have to give it to them. But let's see for Manchester United after the international break. Let's see what they can do. Conceding 2 goals, not good enough. They have to do something better. But moving to Chelsea, what's happening with Chelsea? Because the blue side, the Blues as they would likely call themselves, it's not working for them. Before now, Roman Abramovich, the owner, back then, you know what Chelsea stands for, going to buy top talents, not top young talents. Of course, they do buy some top young talents, so but more of proven top talents that they know that instantly you are coming for an instant impact and not for the future. So, but Todd Boehly and his group, this one is the opposite because it's more of buying 18, 19-year-olds and hoping it's a gamble because you're not sure. Maybe you sign 100 players and hope that 70 or 80 will come good and then you make profit out of these players. But then it's a gamble. It's not certain. You can buy experience for sure. You can do that. And for Chelsea, they are lacking experience. I saw the match against Everton and I was disappointed with Chelsea. There was no fight from these Chelsea players. I don't know if the coach might want to say fatigue or otherwise. I know he was complaining about the Club World Cup, so many matches that these players have played, but that's no excuse why you have to be so dismal. The fact Everton didn't really play like Everton and they got a 3-0 victory shows that Chelsea did not perform at all. And for Liam Rossonau, I don't know, fans are already tired of him already. Fans feel it's not good enough for Chelsea and it's proving them right. But I've been a coach before. I know how coaches need time. Mikel Arteta needed time before getting it right at Arsenal. Even Jurgen Klopp needed time, but an excuse for Jurgen Klopp was the fact that you look at the personnel he's using and you were seeing little improvement. But for Liam Rossonau, not good enough. And the major problem is the board. Chelsea fans, you need to know this. It's the board. I know the coach has his own fair share of blame, but the bigger issue is the board because you guys complained about Enzo Maresca. Enzo Maresca was sacked, or rather they had to agree and they all have to shake hands and okay, we're not doing this thing again. The marriage ended, let's put it that way. And Liam Rossonau coming, but you guys are still having the same complaints. Is it about rotation? Guys are still having rotations, like issues of rotation, rather, like it doesn't have a first 11. I told people when Enzo Maresca left, I said people have the same complaints because you see this board, for manager that they know would say no to them. They want someone that would do, yes, okay, I agree, I'll do this. And you look at Liam Rossonau's CV, this is the biggest job that he has gotten. So whatever, anything just to say yes sir, he will do it. So for the pedigree of the likes of Luis Enrique, the likes of Jurgen Klopp, Diego Simeone, Zinedine Zidane, no. Right now, this Chelsea, they can't go for those kind of managers. So sad one for them. Not forgetting Liverpool, I'll not forget them. Glad I don't think I'll forget Liverpool. I know you want me to forget them, but Liverpool, very dismal. On Friday, we're here trying to analyze, doing a preview on the weekend matches. And for Liverpool, I said, you don't know the Liverpool that will turn up. That's my problem with Liverpool. Against Galatasaray, we saw, it reminded us of Jurgen Klopp. Yeah, it brought back this Jurgen Klopp vibes. Like, felt like, yeah, let's see how they can sustain this. If they can put in this performance against Brighton, then come on, they'll blow away anything. But we saw Anna Slott's Liverpool. We saw Anna Slott's Liverpool at the Amex Stadium.
Klopp Liverpool.
Yeah, not the Jurgen Klopp Liverpool. We saw the Anna Slott Liverpool at the Amex Stadium, and it was very disappointing, boring, and one-sided. I in fact, I wasted my time. I must say that because as a neutral, I wanted a good fight. I wasted my time, I wasted my eyes, and I wasted everything just emotionally too. just to see that game. And Liverpool,
Come on, it wasn't that
no,
bad.
it was
wasn't.
terrible. It was terrible. You look at the scoreline and you might want to think it was a close one, but
So how about the Chelsea game in which they were essentially a punching bag?
if Chelsea own coming, you look at their form and you look at their last match, and you don't want to expect much. You don't want to expect much from them, and also the fact that Everton are fighting for a place in Europe. You don't want to really. But Liverpool, after that performance against Galatasaray, with what I saw,
You can say essentially they did not play up to your expectation, what you were expecting from them. But you saying maybe you wasted your time. It was like the game itself was that terrible. And honestly, irrespective of the fact that they lost, at least in the first half, there were times where I felt it looks exciting. I was a little bit confident that they were going to get a point, but the manager happened. There were substitutions he was supposed to make. I don't know what Kodigapo was doing for 9. He was essentially a passenger. Like, it was just to just carry him on your back and just continue playing, because he was really not doing anything. I feel like they lost that game solely due to the manager. But I think it's important to note that apart from Aston Villa, an important observation, all the teams chasing for that Champions League spot all dropped points, because your twin chase at Liverpool, Manchester United also dropped points.
Oh, please! I know. But a good point. And you look at the race for Champions League football, and you'd rather be in Manchester United position than Liverpool's position. I know before now we're having this banter, and I was joking about it. I wasn't serious though when I said Manchester United will finish ahead of Liverpool, and you're like, no, it's not happening. Look at his cap, FSG. They'll tell you that he's a Liverpool fan. There's a Liverpool fan. But now it's looking like Manchester United might just finish ahead.
I want to agree with you, definitely. From the consistency or inconsistency of Liverpool, you want to say Manchester United are more consistent side. They seem to be a side that really means business this season, at least from the later part of the season after they sacked Ruben Amorim. So they seem to be a more determined side. And for Liverpool, they just really are not showing that real desire to be playing in the Champions League. And honestly, if they don't finish in it, I feel like it will even be a blessing for them, because save yourself of the embarrassment. So if you're not good enough, you shouldn't even be playing in the Champions League. Maybe you go and play the Europa League where you truly deserve to be. But at the end of the day, if you want to be in the Champions League, you need to play and then get into the Champions League. But quickly, let's move on to games that we saw in the Spanish La Liga. In the Spanish La Liga on Friday, we saw Villarreal playing and defeating Real Sociedad by 3-1. On Sunday, we saw Elche defeating Mallorca by 2-1. For Getafe, they defeated Espanyol away from home 2-1. For Levante, they essentially want to say they trashed Real Oviedo by 4-2. And for Girona, they lost on the road to Osasuna 1-0. For Sevilla, they lost at home 2-0 to Valencia. While on Sunday, of course, the big boys, they played. For Barcelona, they defeated Rayo Vallecano by a slender 1-0 win. For Alaves, they defeated Celta Vigo 4-3. It was a 7-goal thriller. For Alaves, they got all 3 points from that encounter. And for Athletic Bilbao, they defeated Real Betis 2-1. While the one at the Santiago Bernabeu, of course, that's where all our attention was, and where Real Madrid defeated Atletico Madrid by 3-2.
Yeah, let me start from the Madrid derby, and a good one for Real Madrid. After the Barca game against Rayo Vallecano, I was wondering, and the fact that Ademola Lookman scored for Atletico Madrid, I said, no, Real Madrid might just kiss the title, La Liga title, goodbye mathematically or not. Maybe mathematically possible, but you look at realistically, I might just say it might be a goodbye if they don't win Atletico Madrid. And they haven't won Atletico Madrid in the league for a very long time. So I was just looking at it, but a good performance from Real Madrid. I don't know, they started showing that there's still a lot to come from them. There's still a lot to come from them. But you have to give it to Vinicius Jr. I've been very critical of Vinicius Jr., I must say. Especially this season. I feel his antics were just too much. Concentrate on playing football and not trying to do otherwise, especially your celebrations and when you're being fouled and stuff like that. But I'd say he did very well. And for their captain, Fede has been fantastic. Fede has been, what a leader. What a leader. He has been very fantastic. Then FC Barcelona, as expected, against Rayo Vallecano, but I expected more goals. FC Barcelona, what's happening? Where did you guys keep the goals? But it doesn't matter because they are still 4 points clear of Real Madrid.
Well, interesting games we saw. But for Real Madrid, I think they would be looking at that red card for for Valverde,
Yeah.
and it seems like it's going to hurt them, especially considering the injury woes at the moment, because they are already a depleted side from the from the goal post. Thibaut Courtois going to be unavailable for a couple of weeks, and then they've been missing the likes of Kylian Mbappe and Jude Bellingham and the likes the others. So how big a blow would it be for Federico Valverde being unavailable for them?
Well, massive one, because you look at their midfield profiles, and I think he can get you goals. He marks very well. He covers every grass of the
Essentially,
field.
box to box.
Yeah,
midfielder.
box to box midfielder. Whatever, he works so hard. He has been deployed at right back, centre back, defensive midfielder, attacking midfielder. He will play these roles very well. But one thing that sets him apart is the fact that he's ready to work for his teammates. He doesn't care if they shine, if he will be the one to make the headlines. He doesn't care about the headlines. You see him putting his work. Unlike some midfielders in that Real Madrid, one in particular, Jude Bellingham, I would not hide it. I feel Jude Bellingham plays for the headlines. Yes, he plays for the headlines. It's as if I want to be the one making the headlines. Like, I want to be there, that kind of thing, with the way he plays. But for Fedi, that sets him apart.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that he has always been the unsung hero, but these days at least is getting the praises.
It seems like you have an agenda against Jude, because
no,
in as much as you want to say maybe he might be underperforming, I think Jude Bellingham, look at that Real Madrid midfield.
yeah.
He's one of the hardest workers in that team. You see him tracking back, making tackles, fighting. Maybe you talk about the fact that he's not as creative as you want him to be. He doesn't create as many chances as, maybe he wants to go for the goal himself.
Glad, sorry to come in, but the problem is he doesn't try to create. He doesn't even try it. It's as if I know that Fedi, not Fedi. I mean, I know that Carlo Ancelotti deployed him as more like a false nine at the point.
Yeah.
In fact, not even false, as a nine during the early stage of his Real Madrid career. So I don't know if he's spoiled with goals, that he forgot that you're a midfielder and your primary job is creativity and passing. That's the most essential thing that we want to look up for.
Midfield is a very diverse position. You cannot just talk about the passing. There's also the marking. There's also the scoring.
Yes.
But irrespective of the fact that for Bellingham, he's not doing too well in terms of creating chances and maybe giving assists.
Yeah.
You cannot take the marking part of it. You see him tracking back. He's almost always the dirtiest person on the pitch.
Oh,
because
please.
of how hard he works.
I don't know if you're just looking
and
at his kit and you feel like, no, he has been
no,
working.
you can't take it.
Glad he walks out. I can't take that away.
And then the
from
goals are also a factor. He still gets
even though
goals.
they've dried up, but
He's not been playing.
But then the primary things,
Yeah.
like you said, you've spoken about tackles. You're a midfielder, so you know that role better than me. I didn't mean you're talking about coaching or this thing. But then I have an idea. I know tackling. It's very important. The distance covered and all those kind of things, are very important. But come on, the basics I expect is your passing. Yes, if you're a midfielder, your passing is very, very important. And you won't talk about passing. I know different profiles of play. I'm not trying to compare him with Pedri, because I'll not hide the fact that I'm more of a Pedri person, and the Vitinha and the Ruben Neves and the likes of the not Ruben Neves, I mean João Neves kind of person. Of course, I'll not hide it. But then I expect him to at least just be comfortable, just be okay with the passes. Just be okay, like, okay, I just want to. Of course, you talk about goal scorers. There are goal scorers in the team. Let me just do this. And sometimes, if it comes, I'll take it and score a goal. But his number one priority on the field is as if I have to get a goal. You see him trying dribbles that most times they don't even come off. Always wanting to dribble and not knowing that. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like he forgets his role and things like that.
Well, for Real Madrid, regardless of the fact that maybe AB doesn't like Jude Bellingham, you have to at least give them credit. They are doing at least a pretty good job considering the injury worries that the number of players that are out injured for them. So it's still pretty interesting in the Spanish La Liga. Still the 4 points. At least for Real Madrid, they knew they did not need to drop points. They need to at least maintain that. Should I say momentum? Keep it tight with FC Barcelona. Don't let FC Barcelona run away with the title already. So it was pretty interesting there. But quickly, and the Italian Serie A, we also saw games with on Friday we saw Napoli defeating Cagliari at home, away from home, 1-0. That game ended. For Genoa, they lost at home to Udinese. On Saturday, We saw Parma losing at home to Cremonese 2-0 for AC Milan. They defeated Torino 3-2 at the San Siro. We also saw Juventus playing a 1-1 draw with Sassuolo, while on Sunday we saw Como essentially eating pizza by 5-0 for Atalanta. They defeated Verona by 1-0 for Lazio. On the road, they managed to get all 3 points against Bologna. It ended 2-0 for AS Roma. They got the better of Lecce. It ended 1-0 for Inter Milan. They played a 1-1 draw with Fiorentina.
Well, Inter Milan, very disappointing one for Inter Milan. What's happening to Inter Milan? At the point, their lead on the top of the Italian Serie A looks unassailable. Yeah, but with the victory AC Milan got against Torino, it's now looking assailable. Yeah,
like the league is essentially done.
But then 6 points or so. I know you will talk about the consistency
AC
of
Milan. They're going to
AC Milan are not consistent. That's the problem. Like some Napoli, they're not consistent. But it's almost. But we didn't see this coming. I didn't believe that the gap would be closed to 6 points or so. I thought maybe we'll still be seeing maybe by now 10 points or thereabout. You look at the opponents that Inter Milan are dropping points against, and you might want to feel like, what is happening? Juventus, I know you guys, your nickname is the old ladies, but please don't play like old ladies, because against Parma, no disrespect to Parma, I expected you guys to get all 3 points, but a disappointing one for them. But good wins for the likes of Napoli and AC Milan.
Very interesting games we saw over the weekend. Of course, you mentioned with the cup game, the Carabao Cup. We saw Manchester City defeating Arsenal. Of course, for Bad Belle FC, I think they are going to be very pleased with that one. But which game particularly were you really surprised? For me, I would say it was the game between Chelsea and Everton. I did not at least expect them to lose with that scoreline.
That's true. Yeah, you're right. I didn't see that coming. Liverpool too, I was surprised. But before we go, let's talk about the French football situation, where it has been confirmed that Zinedine Zidane, I beg your pardon, he will be the head coach of the French football national team after the World Cup. After the World Cup, Didier Deschamps will be leaving, and the new man will be in charge. And for the French national team, Didier Deschamps, a former World Cup winner, a former captain, and he won the World Cup as a coach too. And now he's bowing out for a former World Cup winner and the former captain in Zinedine Zidane. He did very well, winning 3 Champions League trophies with Real Madrid, but some have questioned him tactically. If some felt it was more of individual brilliance helping him through his years as a coach of Real Madrid. So is this a real test for him?
Well, it's going to be a massive test, because you look at what Didier Deschamps managed to achieve while he was at with the French national team, the helm. He did a very impressive job as well, because for once the team won the World Cup and they did not flop the next season, because there's been that trend that when you win the World Cup, you eventually, the next edition becomes in the group stages. We saw what happened with Spain in 2014. They left in the group stages. But for France, when they won the World Cup in 2018 in Russia, we expected them to at least drop, but they went all the way in Qatar, making it to the final, and where they lost in that remarkable game against Argentina. So he's done a very good job, at least not just winning the World Cup, but also ensuring that the French team, they are still competing. So it's going to be a big shoe to fill. I'm not really sure why they want a lot of people were discontent with Deschamps, and now they are bringing in Zidane. I'm not sure if he will be able to perform, considering maybe he's only managed one team. Of course, he did remarkably well, winning the hat-trick of Champions League and back-to-back with Real Madrid. But since then, he's been inactive for about 4 years. He hasn't coached any team. So if he had replicated that kind of form with some other team, it will be, maybe you can say he's a proven coach, but it's still going to be a gamble.
Yeah, still going to be a gamble according to Yakie, but we have to draw the curtains on this edition of Sports Clinic. And before we go, I'd always like to tell you guys, please do well to click the like button. Please just do well, like and subscribe if you can. And also, Nigeria Live TV is officially open for business. If you're looking to boost your brand through paid adverts or sponsorship, we are ready to partner with you. You can reach us right now via call or WhatsApp on our studio line 081 29340 081 2934 For physical consultations, visit our head office at number 122 in Biama Yenagua Road, Amarata, Yenagua, Bayelsa State. And don't forget to stay connected. Follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram, TikTok, and X at Niger Live TV, or visit our website at www.nigerlivetv.com. My name is Appah, and I'll add that you enjoy the rest of your day.